Welcome to the Wellness Revolution podcast, the radio show all about wellness in your mind, body, spirit, personal growth, sex, and relationships. Stay tuned for weekly interviews featuring guests that have achieved physical, mental, and spiritual health in their lives. If you'd like to have access to our entire back catalog, visit drveronica.com for instant access. And here is your host, Dr. Veronica.
All right, here we are for another episode of Dr. Veronica's Wellness Revolution. And you're going to enjoy this today. This is especially for the ladies, but for men too, because you're going to look and say, I want to look like that. I want to be like that. Or I want to know who that is. So the women are saying, I want to know who that is. And the men saying, I always wanted to look like that. Well, here is your chance. I want to introduce to you a friend. And I got to tell you, this guy became my friend. We ended up at a conference together. And he paid me a compliment, and he didn't even know it was a compliment. I'm sure. I'm going to tell you about it. You know, I always tell my stories. So I was out in California for a really long conference. It was longer than it needed to be and too much, but I got to meet a lot of wonderful people and bond with a lot of wonderful people. And this gentleman, Troy Casey, is one of the people who was at this conference. And we were at a business conference, sitting down, having lunch, talking and chatting to a bunch of people. And we were there for like 8 days all together, only about 40 or 50 of us, I think. And so we got to know pretty much all the group. And we were there like from 7 to like 10 at night. Well, one day I'm talking to Troy, and I mentioned something about my marriage, my relationship, and how I thought about my husband. And I said, I knew I have the diamond in the rough, and I know he's just going to bloom. It just is going to take some time. We're on that road. And Troy looked up at me and said, oh my gosh, you don't know how important it is for a man to know that his wife and his woman is behind him. Well, you didn't even know that was a compliment. But it was a compliment because as a physician who people see a lot all over the place, who I have my own persona, I strive also in my personal life to be a wonderful wife and a wonderful mother. And sometimes things get in the way of that. But my husband always knows that my energy is there and I'm behind him, even when I'm not physically there. So this morning, my husband and I are in 2 different places, because a lot of times we're in 2 different places. And I think, oh my gosh, I didn't get to say good morning and chit chat with him a little bit today because my schedule was just crazy. So know that this man that you're going to meet, besides you'll look at the outside and say, oh my gosh, what a beautiful man, but his beauty emanates from the inside, and you will know that. And this is somebody you should work with. Don't work with anybody unless they have the energy coming from the inside. And so there's some people you might meet and you'll look and say, if they don't have the beauty coming from the inside, like Troy Casey, then don't work with them, period. Bad energy means bad health. Now, let me tell you a little bit about his background, because you're saying he just looks too good to be a regular person. And that's what I thought, because I met Troy, hung out with him for a week, chatted with him back on Facebook. And, you know, I'm not one person that stalks or checks out people. And then I said, you know, he just has such beautiful pictures. Most men don't look like that. And then I looked and said, oh, that's what he did in his life. And that's why he's one of those specimens that they found. Mr. Versace model. And he probably looks back and says, I don't want people to know me for that. But it allows him to have a face that makes people, and a body that makes people turn and look. And now he's using that gift, because it is a gift to be physically beautiful, to help people transform their physical health. How many people do you know that actually do that? They look good themselves, but they're not into what everybody else does. They're just into how they look, you know, like keeping up with the Kardashian type people. But Troy Casey, he helps people with cleanse. He helps people with food. He works with the GMO project. This is what it's all about. So, Troy, thank you so much for coming on Dr. Veronica's Wellness Revolution. First, I want to know what got you from modeling to being an advocate for GMOs?
Well, that's a good question. I'm an advocate for healthy living, healthy lifestyle. Really, ultimately, healthy me equals a healthy planet is one of my monikers, because I worked in the Amazon for 10 years and I realized the environmental degradation that we were dealing with down there. And so, and most people can't pay attention to a geographical location, an ecosystem that is 5,000 miles away, even though we are inextricably tied to it through biodiversity, oxygen, and water. And so, so I had to chunk it down and really help people understand that their own ecosystem, the only real estate people have dominion over is their own human body temple, the temple of God, which is right here. And so if people would just take care of their own health, their own body temple, then the world would ultimately be a better place, because what's ever good for the human is also good for the earth. So eating organic food is good to replenish the soils and work naturally in harmony with the ecosystem. And so I started out as a Versace model 26 years ago, and I started studying nutrition, internal purification, herbs, fasting as a way to look and feel my best for the career that I had in front of the camera. And over the last 26 years, I've worked with a couple of herbal companies, and I worked in the Amazon for 10 years as well. And so I got a huge education working with doctors, scientists, and then I studied most recently at the world famous Czech Institute and worked directly with Paul Chek himself. And so I got a really good taste. You know, Paul Chek is the guy who brought the Swiss balls into sports fitness. He pioneered core function in a time when everybody was doing bodybuilding exercises, even the NBA, the NFL, and Major League Baseball as well. And so he pioneered functional fitness. And he's not just a strength training coach, he's a holistic health. It takes 7.5 years to get through his programs. So I've been very well educated as advanced education as well as visceral education in the Amazon, hunting medicines, and working with the shamans down there. And then I also went after my own, I had a rock star phase as a Versace model, and I partied pretty hard. And what happened was I had to change my life from that. And so I started practicing Vipassana meditation, extensive long courses in silence, and that transformed my life. I went after the mental and emotional aspect after I had sobered up. And so I started, I went through some therapy, some psychological therapy, and I started working with Maori healers from New Zealand, very powerful indigenous healers. Went through, some childhood trauma that I went through as well. And so over the past 26 years, I have run the gamut of holistic health, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. I've tried many things, many extreme things. And that's why I call myself the certified health nut.
I like that. You've tried many extreme things. And so when you're talking about those extreme things, you're talking about those extreme things that could harm your health. But I assume you've also tried extreme things that have helped your health. What are some of those?
So I've gone to the Amazon, and I take people to the Amazon to drink the magical brew ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is the most powerful herbal medicine. It penetrates the liver, the gallbladder, the intestines. There is a purging element to it on the physical structure, but more importantly, it goes into the nervous system and penetrates where we hold our beliefs. And so it's like a system defrag, if you will, for the analogy of computer cleaning. And so it goes into the nervous system. And, if there's trauma or skeletons in the closet that we're not looking at, and it's taking up our energy field, if people were potentially molested or traumatized, abused, you get an opportunity to really look at the program that's running, because it may be affecting your long-term survival. It may be creating some other form of disease. And you can look at the program and you can say, hey, do I need to forgive this resentment? Do I need to bless it? Do I need to address it? It's very powerful medicine. It's got a psychedelic component. It's legal in Peru and Brazil. And so I would go down there and work with the Indian shaman, the medicine people of the Amazon, for that. And also working with the Maori healers that I work with, they work very deeply with the body and with myofascial release. And so they go into the nerve centers. They'll stand on the back of your skull with your arms pegged up in the back, really just to stretch everything out, because the mind stores tension in the body. And over time, even if you've had trauma from a car accident, your tension will start to go into the weakest parts of the body. So if your neck gets stuck, or upper thoracic or lower back, or you're limping, they go in and move the energy physically, as well as all the way down to the cells. And they're 300-pound people, and they've stood on me, and I've seen many miracles. In fact, I've seen about 60 exorcisms working with them for the last 17 years. Wow. And people may think, oh, that's like a witch doctor or something like that. Well, hey, look, their specialty is birthing and fertility. And I've seen many miracles with people that have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars working with fertility doctors trying to get pregnant. And lo and behold, they work with the Maoris, and now they have 2 children and the happy family that they desire. And a lot of that sometimes has to do with clearing the energy of the soul. And so, and sometimes that can end up as an adoption. And so, but I've seen people conceive, people that spend a lot of money on drugs and fertility doctors to no avail, and conceive 2 very healthy children. The real estate moguls in Topanga are the ones that host them most often, and they have 2 wonderful children, and they could not get pregnant for the life of them. So these are just some of the miracles that I've worked with, some of the drastic things that I've done. I've studied urine therapy. I've studied, eating raw animal organs to restore your own organs. I've gotten into bone broth nutrition and wild herbs. I work with North American Herb and Spice. They have wild oregano oil, which is great antifungal. They have flax. What's that?
I said, I need some of that too. It's funny because although I am a traditionally trained MD, a lot of the pathway that you're talking about, I've been on the edge of a lot of it and tried it because I'm a risk taker. So I'm like, I haven't tried the ayahuasca type thing. I've heard about it. I know about it. But now what I want to do is, we're hearing about a lot of the stuff that people say, that's not for me. I'm not going to do that crazy stuff. And yeah, you might think it's crazy. People who see me know I do intuitive work. And I got to tell you that the people who have the biggest transformations are the ones who do the spiritual work or find the way to release that so their body can heal. But let's go more over to the people who say, I want a little bit gentler start to this. I'm not going to the Amazon. I'm not letting some 300-person jump on my neck. And I love fascial release therapy, by the way. I mean, oh my gosh. Now, my trainer in the gym who doesn't, is not in the Amazon, has been trained in this and does this to me. And I'm like, what did you do to me? You fixed me. Acupuncture, acupressure. How did you fix me so quick? That's why I started training in homeopathy. My other friend, the Dr. Veronica, would give me something. I'm like, how did you fix me so fast? So there are other ways that people who aren't going to travel far away and have somebody jump on their back, and I know you work with people in those areas. By the way, certified health nut, go to Troy Casey's YouTube channel, go to his website, Certified Health Nut, or workingwithtroy.com, because my thing is, everybody's not appropriate to work with me. Everybody's not appropriate necessarily work with Troy, but my goal, my purpose is for people to get well however they can. So if you want to go to Peru, I've been to Machu Picchu, and oh my gosh, you feel like you're in heaven when you go there. When you go to some of these places, you're like, I understand about energy in heaven, and these shamans are pretty cool. However, for those who aren't going to do that, tell us about your certified health nut and how you help people.
Yeah, so I work with simplicity ultimately, because it's not so much what I do or what is potentially available. It's what people are willing to do and what people are comfortable with doing on a regular and constant basis. So I talk about and teach the basics all the time: hydration, nutrition, loving relationships. Walking is my dominant exercise. I advocate that. I teach very basic Qigong and Tai Chi movements that people can do to harmonize their mind, their heart, and their gut, to get the biological oscillators in balance. And you can do that with walking, or even barefoot walking on the beach. Takes your health and your energy up to the next level. There's many things that you can do. A gratitude journal is excellent for transforming someone's life. Yeah. Three things that you're grateful for every day, and one good thing that happened in the last 24 hours or that you want to happen. I mean, how simple is that? And there's something neurological that happens and subconscious that happens when you put pen to paper. And so, gratitude journal is excellent. Making sure people are drinking high quality water. A lot of the water supply has contaminants in it, including radioactive cesium-6, which was the basis of the Erin Brockovich movie. And Erin Brockovich is still very much alive. She's on Facebook, and she's going into these municipalities, really finding out about water quality. So water quality is very, very, very important. Food quality is very important. These are things that we do every day on a regular and consistent basis. And, there's been a Nobel laureate, Alexis Carrel, who said the cell is immortal. And so it depends on how we take care of it. And he had a cell in his laboratory for 20 years old, and some laboratory technician forgot to feed it, and it died. And so he's a Nobel laureate. And so I keep myself as much of a living testament to, what is possible and how I take care of my body. And so, what you feed your cells today affects you for the next 7 years. So I really chunk it down and make it very simple. People get all hung up on exercise and thinking they have to go to the gym. How about just moving your body? How about just, breathing deeper, going for a walk, being in nature? These things are very basic. Having some form of communication healing with your spouse, or working with a therapist that can help you communicate at a much higher level, so you can have deeper relationships, so you can have deeper loving relationships that help heal you at the soul level. And so these are very important things. I also work with an herbal and superfood company that I can flood people's bodies. I've been juicing for 26 years. Not a lot of people can go to the farmer's market and buy a juicer and know which juices to make. However, I work with a company that we dry everything at 88 degrees. We got wheatgrass, carrot juice. And so 2 scoops in a cup and some water, and within 30 seconds, they're drinking fresh squeezed juice. So I chunk it down and make it simple for people. You have one of our juice drinks, and it's organic. It's loaded with vitamins, minerals, and enzymes. In a very short amount of time, you're flooding your cells with deep nutrition, and people feel better. It's the energy without the cup of coffee. And so if you can just start getting people to feel better in a very simple way, then they can start moving towards greater transformation over long periods of time. And so, if people want to work with me on a higher level, yes, I can take them to the Amazon on one of my retreats. I'm going to Costa Rica with JP Sears in January. You can come on one of these retreats that submerge you into the culture and can take your vibration up to a higher level in a very short amount of time. But other than that, I've got tons of videos. I've made, 300-400 videos on the internet that just help people tap into, the greater aspects of life and the greater aspects of simplicity.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So certifiedhealthnut.com, certified health nut on YouTube. I've seen some of the videos, like, that's pretty cool. You got to get it however you can. But the most important part is implementation. So what do you think is the simplest way that you help people just get started? They come to you and say, Troy, man, I need some help. What is the simplest thing that you do to help people get started and then stay on track?
So the best way I work with people is to jumpstart their health is get them on a 10-day cleanse. A 10-day cleanse is going to reset their metabolism. It's going to get rid of inflammation. They're going to lose 5 to 20 pounds. They're going to feel better. They're going to be putting organic, non-GMO, legitimate, real food into their body. They're going to be naturally burning fat. They're going to have more energy. And then once that happens, then I have their attention and they're more apt to implement something like walking, something like looking at their water a little bit deeper. The cleanse also helps people get deeper sleep. We have a tart cherry juice. It's the only plant on earth that helps release naturally occurring melatonin. So they get deep REM sleep, which is very important for restoring the body. And I also, that comes with just a very brief lecture. Fasting is an ancient technique. To go without is to go within. And so I tell people there's 3 very important things. Make sure you're hydrating more, resting, give yourself permission to rest because we live in such a fast-paced, stressed out society. So rest more and make sure you're pooping. That is a very big, important thing. And, a lot of people don't look at that. You want to be making sure that you evacuate the waste out of your body. And so, that's very important. And people don't even consider it once they're constipated. And so many people are constipated. Once they're constipated, it goes into the liver and the kidneys. Overconsumption of proteins also contaminates the kidneys as well. And so taking a vacation from processed foods, taking a vacation from solid food, it allows your body, organs, and glands to balance and harmonize.
Yes. I love it's amazing because I talk to all types of people and interview all types of people. And what I like is what I sing from the rafters when somebody else says it, it's like, yes, it has some impact. I'm thinking tart cherry juice. I have it, the concentrate, organic concentrate in my refrigerator. I tell people about doing that and, the cranberry juice and all these other different types of things. So I love it that you're coming from a little bit different spin, but saying exactly the same thing. And I have to say, as a, functional specialist who sits in a classroom and studies this stuff, what Troy is saying is right on with the science. And so do it. Certified Health Nut, Troy Casey, former Versace model, who would know that this would be your path in life? You thought it was just about being cute. Now here you are transforming people. So how does that feel?
Well, actually, I always wanted to be a doctor. And even though I'm not a doctor, I'm like a modern day medicine man. And so, and actually, we're looking at going back to school and getting my doctorate now.
Do it. Yes. Yeah. Do it.
So, and I've got the life experience. I've got 26 years of study and practice and application. So, what was the question?
how does it feel to be going from being cute to know that you're transforming life? That's just my question. So your life purpose, how did you know? I mean, when did you realize that this was more your life purpose? I mean, you did the beautiful people hard party, but you switched over pretty quickly to your life purpose being to help people, help yourself, help the planet. So how does that feel?
Well, I think there's really no mistakes. I mean, traveling the world as a fashion model was very beneficial to really understand people and get to know different types of people, and also travel around the world and just have really different experiences. Plus, to go to the depths of self-destruction and work with my shadow pretty deeply allows me to understand that we all have a dark side. And so I don't think that there's any mistakes. I think I just went to school a different way, a little bit deeper. And so and then when it came time to all this led to my work with herbs and then subsequently working in the Amazon. I guess the life path, it ends up being direct, even though it seems indirect. So there I was, I was a young kid. I didn't know really exactly what I wanted. And because I have symmetry in genetics, I can become a model. And so, I experienced that. And then instantly I realized I had my own digestive issues, and I started studying nutrition and herbs. And I was in Italy, and they have farmers markets everywhere. So the education really started right in the beginning. And then I continued, working with the herbs. And then I also had my own mental and emotional issues, and that kind of got buried. First, it was fun. And then I eventually started drinking for my, deeper emotional issues, anxiety. And then I got to look at that, and I'm still discovering, I'm still going through a lot of self-discovery right now. So I can help people, as I become more mature and have wisdom behind it, as opposed to maybe 20 years ago, maybe I was judging people. Maybe I stopped drinking and then I would judge other people for their drinking, whatever the case may be. I'm working towards zero judgment as much as possible. And so, and we all judge, but fact of the matter is, all these experiences have helped me to the point of where I'm at right now. The Certified Health Nut is designed to make holistic health fun and palatable for people and not take it so seriously, and to be able to laugh at ourselves and and also, take it with a grain of salt. We're human beings. We've got to be able to forgive ourselves. And, oh my God, if this guy can have his child, born in his living room, and he can birth the child, and, he can go to the Amazon and he can work with these indigenous people, and, he can do his own extensive fasts and work with powerful herbal medicines and interview all sorts of interesting people. Wow, this gives me a new understanding and a new lease on life. And and his dominant exercise is walking. Wow, that's simple. I could do that. And so it makes things simple and palatable, and allows it to penetrate the consciousness of mankind and their heart. And here's the thing with, people that come out of medical school, the medical school and the terminology utilized in the medical industry is designed with Latin, and a lot of it's made up Latin for that express industry. And so it makes a lot of the pathologies a mystery. And so you have to go to them to get your solutions. I consider myself my own doctor. I teach my children how to be their own doctor. When we used to live in the wild or out on the prairie, there was no hospital. There was no store. You went and picked your herbs. You went and made your medicines. And so, emergency medicine is very handy. I love it. My daughter was born in the hospital. And so, but the fact of the matter is everything has its place, and natural medicine and natural food and natural health, these things are our birthright. And so, and lo and behold, as above, so below is the natural law of correspondence. So how we take care of ourselves is how we take care of the earth. And lo and behold, what's happening with the earth right now? We're having serious issues. The air, the water, and the soil is being contaminated. How's that affecting the human being? Well, we spend the most money on healthcare in the United States of America. We're 60th in life expectancy. We're 41st in infant mortality. 70% of the American people are obese or overweight, and you've got 1 in 2 will have cancer, 33% have diabetes, and you've got 1 in 17 with autism. That's a maternal alarm. The women should be out in the streets going, what is happening? If I have a child, there's a 1 in 17 chance that there is going to be a problem. And it's not just a problem, that's something that can, it puts a really drag on society because of the costs of that, not only the energetic human costs of that, but also the money costs of that. So that is a very big deal. And so we have to look at that. And again, you can't really change the world. You can only take care of yourself, the own body temple that you have here. And that's, in true leadership, is leading by example. And so we're only conscious to the degree we're healthy. We're only healthy to the degree we're conscious. So if we're truly going to evolve the species, if we're going to evolve spiritually, I mean, let's face it, you're only healthy as the blood your brain is sitting in. And so if we're bogged down by metabolic processes and we have heavy metals in our body and other microbes and contaminants and fungal overgrowth, how well can you evolve spiritually? How well, if you're not if you can't even love yourself at a level to optimize yourself, then how can you really truly love another?
Okay, so you know what I got to say? All right, so there's 2 things. My first thing is, if Troy Casey ever decides to become a religious leader, y'all are in trouble. Did you hear that? Y'all are in trouble. Why? Because number 2, all the same statistics that I throw out, which are true statistics, when I give a seminar or a live event, he just was talking about the same thing. So it's, Troy, if you ever become a pastor, you could lead people off the edge of the earth and they would ask no questions. But the good part about this is that...
I got to tell you, with the whole Trump and Hillary thing, I decided to run for president of planet Earth.
Yes! Troy for president of planet Earth. That's where we're going to have to leave this, because Troy, I thank you so much for being on. Yes, people, we will collaborate again, because good people and brilliant people know each other and we all hang together. So this is why in my energy field, I just happen to walk up upon all the great people who are doing wonderful things. When you have a high vibration, you attract high vibration people. So if you say, Dr. Veronica, how'd you meet Troy? Vibrations that are high end up all in the same place. Isn't that right, Troy?
Yes. It's all about vibration, harmonizing.
Yes. So another episode of Dr. Veronica's Wellness Revolution. You've met Troy Casey, certified health nut. Go to his YouTube channel. He's got lots of video snippets for you to look at. Look for him on Facebook also. He does Facebook live posts. Join one of his 10-day fasts. If you want to figure out how do I get started, this is a simple way. Commit 10 days of your life. Implement. I don't care what time of year it is. I don't care if it's before Thanksgiving, after Christmas. I don't care what time it is.
You'll know
now.
Yeah. Well, and people will know when the time is right. And for anybody that wants to do the cleanse, I'm doing my next cleanse on November 3rd. I have a $50 gift card for them to get started. And so contact me on Facebook. I run my business on Facebook all the time. Certified Health Nut. It's a global brand. It's easy to find.
There you go. You even got a gift. So for those of you who say, how much is it? You got a $50 gift. Thank you so much, Troy.
Thank you, Dr. Veronica.
Thank you for listening to the Wellness Revolution podcast. If you want to hear more on how to bring wellness into your life, visit drveronica.com. See you all next week. Take care.